why it's really important to have a plan. Have a plan and understand what your goals are.
In fact, my camel out there is suffering right now with a broken back.
So I actually found Pepe when it was only a couple of hours old, and I'm like, oh, this is a funny meme.
Oh my god.
Yo! Who is this Degen?
The old man is swing trading over years at a time. And it's like, that's where the real money is made.
The answer is a permanent loss. With single-sided staking, you don't have to worry about impermanent loss.
If you're aware, if you're disciplined, you can hone that into further financial growth.
Financial freedom. So we can actually live life and not have to be constantly living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, more or less, right?
And we are live. Welcome, Degen and Degenettes, to another episode of Whiskey Wednesday. Today we have a fun and exciting show. First half, we'll be going through some of the news. We have some great information to cover today, like CPI report. We might go through the new PulseX version 1.09, stable pools, and whatever else we might think about talking about. In the second hour, if you guys want to hop on, we will give you a link later, and you can come on and talk about just about anything you want. I do first, before we want to get into the show, just put a shout out there and a remembrance on this, the anniversary of 9/11. I just want to give a shout out to all those who lost their lives, all those who may have lost a loved one. I know that every time this day arrives for me, it is somber and unique, and it kind of is running through my head all day. So I also want to give a shout out and a thanks to anyone who's in the military, firefighters, police officers, first responders, medics, anyone that was there trying to save people's lives. I remember that day, so many people came from all over the country to literally take rubble and try to find people. It's vivid. It feels like it was just a couple of years ago, even though now we're coming up on almost 25th anniversary. But I think it was really important for us to just bring remembrance to that. Because, so God bless our country, and may this election cycle go the way that is best. Nate, it's been a while, buddy. How are you? What's going on?
Oh, man. It's been crazy. The past 2 weeks have been absolutely wild. Just trying to do any kind of research at all. It's like I've literally got a list of projects I want to get done, guys. And there's so much valuable information to give you. But I've been worked literally from 7 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night. And then I spent 2 hours with my family and then go to bed and do it again. Oh, man. It's so tough. Like, my hair is still wet from the freaking shower and everything, too. Like, it's rough out here, but I know that things are going to be slowing down at my in real life job here pretty soon. And then I've got just a pile of information that I'm going to be sending your guys' direction. I'm not necessarily just going to be talking about it willy-nilly on the shows like this, because I do want to kind of structure it, put it into nice packages, so that way you guys are able to kind of consume it a little bit. But I'll give you a few tidbits here and there as we're kind of running around with the shows and stuff. However, with that being said, I guess I'll just move it over to, that's what's going on with me, I'm just being busy, but I guess I'll move it over to Will. Hey, Will, how are you doing today? It looks like you don't got your camera on today. What are you being camera shy, or what's going on here?
Yeah, I'm really shy. I got a new haircut. I went from being bald to I have a more bald now, so all the hair is gone. No, I'm just kidding. The freaking internet over here in New Jersey, where I'm at, it is not cooperating. So shout out to New Brunswick for just having terrible service for AT&T or Sprint or whoever the hell I have over here.
Dirty Jers, buddy. That's why we call it. It's one of the reasons we call it Dirty Jers.
Yep, dirty New Jersey. I was reminded how much I hate driving in New Jersey when I came over here just like a few hours ago, and it's like, holy smokes. But I'm doing pretty good. I made it over here. I'm going to go to my buddy's got a wedding up in Connecticut. The rehearsal's tomorrow. The wedding's on Friday. And then Saturday is the party day. So And then after that, I think I'm gonna swing down south and go hang out with our friend Josh down in down where he's at. So that's gonna be a good time. And yeah, I'm just having fun. I'm ready to talk about these stable coins and this other stuff that we got going on for today. What's on our agenda?
Well, we got an agenda. We do. I'm not president, but I have a plan, and have that plan go as we continue. Debate last night, that was interesting. I don't think we'll get into that. Maybe the second hour, we'll see. But so, yep, we are going to talk about the CPI report because that launched today. And as you probably saw, it went down to 2.5%. Before we hop into that, though, I just want to say that I'm happy to be here. I missed this last show. I've been dealing with a knee issue, and I'm still on crutches, and happy to be back on stream. But maybe we can do a quick shout-outs before we go into the first topic. Who we got here already? Centurion 54X. Ahoy, Degens. Happy Thursday, buddy. Thank you for joining as always. Hexagon lost in Asia. Thirsty Thursday on the side. The bull run is over.
Hell yeah, it is. That's why. Wait, look. I've got three of these today. I'm ready to fucking go. He's got the Jameson, bro. Oh, gotta love it.
I'm over here sipping on some crazy Fireball, by the way. Nate, I think you said you had Miller High Life or something, right?
Miller High Life. Yeah, technically speaking, I've got more of this Gray Duck, but I'm like, yeah, I'll just do beer for now.
Hell yeah, bro. Good stuff.
Moonpill Rational Optics. What's up, Degens? Cheers, buddy. Cheers. Welcome. And for now, Paul Sachs. Long locks and handlebar mustaches. Good to see you, boys.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so I'll be sipping on a little bit of Jameson tonight. You know, the one of the finest of the Irish whiskeys. So my go-tos for just sipping Irish whiskey would be Jameson and Tullamore Dew. Tullamore Dew is a little bit smoother. Jameson's a little more bold of a flavor. Both are delicious, and neither generally breaks the bank. So that's great. Nate, you said you're sipping on the High Lives, the champagne and beer.
I want to say about Jameson though, like I got to be careful of Jameson because I'll drink a lot of it. And my favorite thing in the world is just have it straight on the rocks with usually right around like the large square ice cubes, right around 3 of those. You got to have 3 exactly, no more, no less, right? Just go ahead and get it about half full and just sip on it. It's the most fantastic thing ever. But the thing is, I'll have like 3 of those glasses, then just be gone. I don't know what it does to me. Yeah, it hits me hard. But yeah, I got the high life, man. And in this crypto world, we're living the high life right now.
We're living something. We are living something. But I will say, the high life, the champagne and beers used to be one of my favorites before I came down with a gluten allergy. I found out that I had celiac disease back like 16 years ago. And then Fireball whiskey, I drink that when I'm on ski trips. When we're going up the lift and it's freezing, there's nothing better than a Dr. McGillicuddy's or a Fireball.
Bro, I'm just like, I happen to have some. So I normally carry like an emergency stash of alcohol in my truck. And I was like, oh, snap, it's Whiskey Wednesday. And I don't have any booze alcohol. Wait a minute. I looked under the seat and there's a little freaking, what is this? It's a
sleeve?
It's a 3.5 ounce. Yeah. One of those little like double shooters or something. So that's
we call it a nip. Oh, wait, 3 ounces, you said.
Yeah, 3 ounce. So it's like the double nipper.
Yeah.
Or a triple nipper.
I have 3 nipples, so I know the difference between 2 and 3.
Yeah. Well, I have a tough time keeping track, especially when I'm drinking this delicious cinnamon. So,
all right. So, not to skip over that conversation, but to completely skip over that conversation, let us get into it. So, today we dropped the CPI report, and as we talked about last month, we'd have a couple job reports, we'd have a couple CPI reports before the Fed gets to make their decision on cutting the interest rates. So we will go through that a little bit today. We may go through the Fed Watch tool as well. But it's interesting. So we had the lowest interest of any time this year. It reduced. Hold on, pull up this article. That way everyone can see it here. Well, maybe I won't. Maybe I won't.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to pull this up, but it's not working. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share my screen, Mrs. Producer.
Okay.
And let me know when you can see that. You guys got it?
You are good, sir.
Perfect. So, U.S. inflation trending lower, but some stickiness remains. So there's really two aspects to inflation data that we need to look at. The first is the overall inflation data, which came down to 2.5%, lower than expectations. And most of the time when you look through news articles, when you look through headlines, you'll see, hey, inflation reduced to lowest amount since, 2022 of sometime, 2021 sometime. And that's great. Honestly, it's really good to see it down to 2.5%. But that's not fully the number that the Fed is paying attention to, because it adds a little bit of some areas like energy and food that are very volatile. So what they're more looking at is the core inflation. Now, core inflation is all of the inflationary numbers minus food and energy. Now, this month, food and energy went down the most, so that helped drag down our overall inflation. But the problem is, and you can see this here, core inflation gains 0.3% up to 3.2% on the year. So that is a little bit of a red flag, even though overall inflation numbers are coming down. Jerome Powell has generally always talked about using the core inflation, because energy and food, that's volatile. They don't have as much control over those. And so they're really looking at that core CPI data that they can control in a better way. So seeing that gain 0.3%, which was higher than anticipated, was a little bit of a worry. And so that does show that there is a bit of sticky inflation in the core aspect in the areas where we are really trying to focus on. So what does that mean? Does that mean that they're going to cut rates more or cut rates less? Generally speaking, if they're worried about inflation, like this core inflation, then they're going to cut rates less. So my prediction, which has been my prediction really for 6 months now, but especially for the last 1 to 2 months, is that they're going to cut rates by probably 25 basis points. Some people have been calling for more. Some people have been calling for less. But you can see here, financial markets boosted the chances of a 1/4 point rate cut next Wednesday and sharply lowered the probabilities of 50 basis point reduction. And that is, if you just looked at the overall inflation data, you might say, hey, we're definitely going to see a 50-point cut. But when you dive deeper, when you dig deeper down into that and you look at the core inflation, then you're going to say, okay, hey, we got to pump the brakes here a little bit. We got to be a little bit weary about this core inflation ticking back up and staying sticky. So most likely we're going to see a 25 basis point reduction. A week ago, the Fed Watch tool had it at almost 50-50. I had it at almost 100% personally. That was going to be 25 basis points, because anytime that they start to cut faster than 25 basis points, it spooks the market a little bit, because you are reducing interest rates because you are worried about a potential downturn in the market. You are worried about maybe a potential recession, and keeping the status quo at 25 basis point cuts, and then maybe in the future cutting it 50 here and there. Once the market is comfortable that there isn't going to be a recession, or it doesn't look like it's going to be as likely, then that is what we'll see. So here you can see we still did rise plus 0.2%, which is okay. That's not terrible. But overall, it was the core CPI that we are really focused on and really trying to pay attention to. Nate, Will, what do you guys think?
Well, one of the main things that I was hearing about is, like, if they cut 25, that's bullish, right? Yay for alt season. If they cut 50, it's basically all over. We're screwed. And yeah, it's because it spooks the market. Obviously, when the market gets scared, right, the first thing they do is they get out of risk on assets and go to risk off, which is like, gold or bonds or something safe, right? So you can imagine that it's like we get a 50 basis point cut, and all of a sudden it's like you see crypto and stocks just, and the thing about that too, that it was kind of spooking me a little bit of the idea of actually having that happen, because I'm like, oh great, this is going to be like Pokemon Island all over again, and we don't want another one of those. Trust me, that would be really, really, really bad for this cycle, right? But the more and more I started looking into it, the more and more I'm starting to be like, oh yeah, it kind of seems like they have no choice but to cut at 25, and I think we're good, right? And so like let's go ahead and imagine, like, all right, we got the 25 basis point cut. Cool. You know, that's one of the checks down. Okay, another thing is we got 33,000 Bitcoins from the Mt. Gox Ponzi that is going to be sent over to BitGo, and that right there is going to be distributed to people who lost their Bitcoin in that whole disaster. So that's going to be a good thing as well, right? Now, what are people going to do with that? I think that people are not going to be dumping. I think people will either hold or move it into a different asset, right? Maybe Ethereum. Perhaps. And that would almost like start alt season one if they start doing something like that. Also, you got to look at this. CZ is getting out of jail today. Or not today, sorry, this month. Hey, he's a main character of crypto. He's one of our funds are safe because of him, I believe. So another thing that we're going to be doing is getting $16 billion is getting sent back to the FTX customers that lost their funds. That's $16 billion that's literally going into the market now. Okay, what do you think they're going to be doing with those funds?
There was some pushback from the SEC about sending stable coins back to the investor people. That was one of so like when I did the little the Sunday stream where I just kind of like read headlines on Telegram for like all the news stuff. That was one of the headlines, is that the SEC they're in like some sort of talks or like finger wagging process with FTX regarding paying back the investors using stable coins and things. So I don't know the details. It's literally just a headline, and that was something that's probably worth mentioning. As far as like the CPI numbers and the cutting rates, like I still don't understand why the market loses its mind over a 50-point cut. Like 50 points, it's just a little bit more than 25, right? And we're sitting pretty high at inflation right now. We're at like what, 4.5, 4.25, something? Like, isn't that the Fed, the lending rate right now, or is it like 5 something? Like 25, 50 points. That's freaking ridiculous and small. It never really made sense to me why the difference in the flip would cause the market to lose their damn mind or some such reason. And Hexagon lost in Asia. I wish I could show my face, but if I did, the internet would start cutting out, and then I wouldn't be able to do the stream with us. But yeah.
So before you answer, Brendan, I have one thing to say here. So, Will, I want you to imagine that you're moving around $100 billion. What is 1% of that? Okay, you could imagine just how big that is. It's big money.
Yeah, it's
like
$1 billion.
This is huge amounts of money. This isn't like all of crypto itself is not even $2 trillion worth, right? So when we're like, oh, 100 million, it's like, wow, that's a lot of money. These people who are affecting this in these markets, like the stonks market and all that, this is like hundreds of billions of dollars, right? Just moving around.
Yeah, but it's a lending rate, right? It's the rate at which the money's printed. It's not like money that's already circulating, is it?
I'm gonna let you just describe it all, Brennan.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna go down to the basics of it. So the reason why markets get spooked is, one, they just like status quo. They just like things to go the way that they expect them to go. And pre-internet, being able to see data so fast, so quickly, the only time that people got to see what the Fed was going to do was when they came out and spoke. Now there's a little bit more of, hey, we kind of have an idea, and the markets kind of move a little bit before and after. But the biggest worry about cutting more than 25 basis points is the only reason they would do that is if they're worried about recessionary pressures. So if the market thinks, hey, they're cutting 50 basis points because they're worried about recession, they're having this little ding going off their head. Hey, wait, I have to worry about a recession. And so that's what spooks the markets and gets people to start selling, because they're worried about a potential recession coming here into the end of the year. And we've had pretty much a roller coaster of hey, looks like we're going to have a recession, doesn't look like we're going to have a recession, looks like we're going to have a recession, doesn't look like we're going to have a recession. And so the markets have already had some instability with how this is going to work out and if it's going to be a soft landing or not. But it boils down to just consistency.
Okay. So have you already done the 25-point drop already, or are we still at the top of the range?
What was that, Will? You were roboting there a little bit.
We're still at the top of the range, right? We haven't done any.
Correct. Yeah. So you may not be able to hear Will because he's in and out, but he was asking if we're at the top of the range. We have not done any cuts yet. This would be the first cut, and so the first cut is indicative of what the move of the Fed is and how they think the markets are going to react, and also again if there's any recessionary worries. If a 50 basis point comes in a few months, not so big of a deal, but because this is the first one, that also amplifies things a little bit, if that makes sense.
Okay, gotcha.
There you go. You are you're good.
Yeah, what Paul says here is really, I like the way he put this. He says, well, think of the market like an ocean. Now throw a pebble into it, which is 25 basis points, right? Now throw a boulder, which is 50. Now make an earthquake in the ocean, which is Paul Volcker ripping the Band-Aid off.
Yep,
So
certainly makes
there's
bigger waves.
It's like
There he goes. He got kicked.
And canceled.
I did not kick him. It was not me. It wasn't Mrs. Producer. That was his internet rugging him. You know, he just starts talking about interest rates and gets rugged.
That's what happens when Will talks about interest rates.
Will, you back?
Well, anyways, I think we can move on from this though. But yeah, to kind of to finish off what it is that I was originally talking about there. This is how the alt season is going to blast off. You know, I was thinking about this today, and I think it needs to be said where the more we're kind of chopping sideways, it's kind of better for us. How many people, even in our own community, like you guys, right? How many of you are just like, oh, when is it going to pop off? Is it going to pop off? Like, am I in the wrong coins? And you start doubting, you know, you're doubting, you know, you're getting a little bit of fear of like, am I actually going to be able to make gains, you know, in this cycle? And I think that those emotions are very powerful because if you're thinking about it, right, this community is really good at kind of like, you know, as Sami like to say, hold our own nuts. You know, we like to hold on. We love to imagine that this is actually going to take off and it's actually going to work, and we believe it will. You know, and that's what we're doing is we're believing. And the thing is that the majority of people don't believe, but for those who are, think about it this way. As soon as like Bitcoin finally starts really taking off and we're heading to 100K Bitcoin in like 2 months, okay? AKA big fat green candles. What's going to happen is these people who are very emotional and just like, I'm going to sell here because, you know, it hasn't been moving for 6 months. These people are going to get so overly excited over big green candles that they're just going to start throwing their money everywhere. They don't even care what it is. It's like, yay, Bitcoin is going up. What's next? And then everyone's obviously going to be in Ethereum. Like, okay, I'm going to go into Ethereum because it's nice and safe. And then they're like, but this is boring. You know, it's not enough. We look at all these other alts that are taking off, and they're instead of like a 2x, they're going like a 10x, right? And they start throwing their money very excitedly in there. That's how crypto really takes off. It's because of these emotions, these emotional traders who literally just feel the excitement of finally the green candles are here, you know, that euphoria. And if you think about it, kind of like how a spring, you know, you do this and the spring goes down, and the pressure becomes so much that eventually just breaks and shoots off to the moon. Imagine that is the emotions of the market. Okay. We're just waiting for that right now. And currently in just holding the way that things are as of right now is just tightening and pushing that spring even further down. And so when it finally pops, because it will eventually here, and I just went through a lot of reasons why, hey, this coming month or maybe like the end of this month, into next month is going to be, hey, all this stuff is releasing now, all the good news. And I think we're going to be popping off big time after that. So good times coming, guys. Good times coming.
Yeah. Think about back, when was it? Gosh, so long ago, so many months ago, when the OA address started pumping money into the Pulse chain ecosystem, and it got Pulse chain back up to over SAC, and things were just like green candle after green candle. Everyone was hitting this euphoria, even though we weren't near any point that I thought people were going to start selling. And then there were a lot of people who have been holding for years that were just wanted to get out. And so there's been, continued sell pressure within the Pulse chain ecosystem to the point we are at all-time lows. And to me, and I've been saying this, the more people that sell and the more people that get out, that means that there's less resistance when we actually start pumping, because everybody that wanted to sell already sold, right? And so the people that wanted to hold to maybe 3 zeros in a 1 or 2 zeros in a 1 or whatever we end up getting to this year or this cycle next year, 2026, who knows when Pulse chain and Hex are going to pop off. Last time Hex was 6 months after Bitcoin topped. So that doesn't mean that we might not see Pulse chain pop for a while yet. But just think of how much euphoria happened with just those small pumps to sacrifice price. Pretty incredible. So now think about 10x or 20x or 50x from SAC price. Right now, look, not financial advice. We don't know what the future holds. This is just spitballing. But think about 20x or 50x from SAC price. I think 10x. I think from this point, 10x from SAC price would be 27x from this point. I have to redo the math. I did it the other day. Could be 25x, but it's somewhere around there. So if you buy now and we go 10x from SAC price, whew, it's gonna be nice, real nice. So I'm excited. I'm still buying with the little to no money that I still have. But you know what's interesting is I had bought all of these altcoins back when months and months and months ago. It was funny is even the ones that looked like they were done have now made me money compared to Pulse. Like just talking in increasing my Pulse bags or Pulse X bags or Ink bags. A lot of these meme coins have grown my bags. So I've de-risked. I've taken all my initial investments out on my altcoins, and now I'm just ready to watch the moon and ready for Pulse chain to go up. So what do you think? Should we show this new Pulse chain?
Yeah, I think it's a good time to do that. Speaking of making tons of money in Pulse chain, right? What happens when you move that over into stables? Well, there is something brand new on Pulse X just for you. Brendan, do you want to show us?
Yes, sir. Let me know when you can see my screen.
I can't see your screen anymore. No, I'm joking. I can see it. Okay,
perfect. So, for those of you who have not updated your PulseX recently, we are now version 1.0.9. We've had 3 updates just in this past week. So we had version 1.017 and then 1.08, which was very brief. And now we are at version 1.09. So first of all, we have a beautiful, clean interface. We have a few additional buttons here. We can click to go to the bridge. I am going to disconnect my wallet. So I just got doxed a little bit there, but that's okay. Maybe we can block that out when we come back. What's funny is I already disconnected and it automatically reconnected when I shared my screen. Not sure why, but anyway,
we can take it out in post.
Anyway, so we have the farms. You have your normal farms. Personally, I am in the PulseX Pulse farm. I am in the Hex Pulse farm. I am in the Ink Pulse farm and the Ink PulseX farm. I have made a ton of ink with these farms over the last several months. Do have to be careful about impermanent loss, but because the chain hasn't really moved one way or another, we haven't seen huge rises in one coin compared to the others. The impermanent loss has been fairly low. Plus, I happen to like Ink, Pulse, PulseX, and Hex. So everything to me is fine. It's Gucci. No matter what I get, I'm happy with it. So once things start to pop off, I probably will reduce my exposure to these pools. these farms, but these are a good way to earn ink, and that ink you can turn back into farms or turn it into other coins.
You know, so with these farms, real quick,
Yeah.
I've been hearing some stuff about obviously like ink. Everyone's kind of expecting ink to really pop off a lot harder than say like Pulse Chain, right?
At least in the beginning, yeah.
At least in the beginning,
First
right?
mover, maybe.
Exactly. And so obviously you're gonna, as soon as things really do start popping off, you definitely want to remove the pools. However, I've been hearing some theories about how PulseX will actually pop even harder than ink. Okay. And so that actually, and in fact, when ink first starts to go, well, PulseX is going to go too. And so there's some theories out there I've been hearing where being in the ink pulse pool is not as good as being in the ink pulse X pool, because you'll be able to stay in there longer technically and not have as much impermanent loss. Now, obviously this is all speculation, but there's some, if you go back and you look at number one, when Richard was, just testing out, I think he dropped in like 16 million or whatever back in March, and he was pumping the price a bit. If you watched it, ink and pulse X actually were kind of being equalized in percentages going up, right? Whereas Pulse and Hex was kind of lagging a little bit comparatively. And so there's a little bit of speculation. And then also he's been playing around with, very obviously playing around with Pulse X here. And he's been making the ratio of Pulse to Pulse X a lot, let's just say a lot closer to parity. And I think that's an interesting thing, especially with the buy and burn. If you actually look at how much Pulse X drops when people were trying to sell out, Pulse X has technically dropped a lot less than expected than, like, say, Pulse Chain. So there's an interesting little theory going on there about possibly the pools you're going to want to stay in the longest are actually the Hex Pulse and the Ink Pulse X pools. And like the Ink Pulse, you're going to want to pull out almost immediately, and the Pulse X Pulse pools, you're going to want to pull out immediately. So interesting ideas. Obviously, we're not going to see until it actually happens, and then we'll be able to look back, right? And then learn the lessons. But there's some very interesting thoughts going on about this, and you know what? I would kind of believe the Pulse X, because I'm going to tell you what is it? How much Pulse X has been burned? Let me
like 5%.
Pull this up real quick. Actually, I think I have it right. It's
I have it right
5%.
here. Let's see.
I got it right here as well. It is 975 billion has been burned, and man, that's a hell of a lot. That's 0.69% has been burned. So almost 1% of everything. So basically $17 million worth as of currently has been burned. This is a forever buyer, by the way. Okay. So a forever buyer has burned this. And then if we go over here to the bubbles, right? Let's go look at the bubbles. Let's look at liquidity. If we actually look at the liquidity that is in Pulse X, it's 31 million. And so basically half of what's in Pulse X right now has literally just been bought and thrown away basically to the buy and burn. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think the buy and burn actually counts for current liquidity. But if I remember correctly, the buy and burn, it actually sends it to a wallet and then just sits in that wallet that will never move.
So
I think that Pulse X can be deleted from existence. I don't know if it goes to a dead address. I could have swore it's the token is removed, but I don't know. Don't quote me on that.
I'm pretty sure it was a dead address though, so the liquidity technically counts.
I have no clue.
Let's
Let's
house that for a second. But Hexagon lost in Asia confirmed what I said. Almost 5% of the supply is gone forever. So currently 4.83% has been fully burned. So that's pretty incredible, but not exactly what we wanted to talk about tonight.
Yeah.
I think that's something that we will get into more. Also, be very careful in the farms. I don't recommend, unless you're an expert on our level or above, to get into the stable farms. So if you're doing a stable coin and Pulse, or a stable coin and Pulse X, that's very dangerous because of the opportunity for impermanent loss. Unless you really know what you're doing, I would suggest staying out of those pools. So we're talking about staying on these farms. So these ones, DI Pulse, USD pulse, wrapped ETH pulse, USDT pulse. Be very careful with these. These are dangerous pools. And you can see, the APR is higher, but you have a huge opportunity for impermanent loss. You can use a lot. You can really get wrecked if you don't know what you're doing there. But what we really wanted to show you is one of the new things is here. If you go to info, you can see version 1. You can see the information for version 2. And now we have another little button here called stable. That's interesting. Stable. So pools, look at that. Nay, look at this. We have a stable pool that allows you to take USDT, USDC, and DAI, put those together, and provide liquidity for PulseX. So you can just click on that. You can add liquidity. You can pool those tokens together. I don't have my wallet connected, so I'm not going to go through the steps, but you go to info, stable, go to the pools, add liquidity, and if you have those three, you can put them together. The nice thing is you don't have to then click stake or anything like that. Just having that LP in your wallet is going to provide you a reward. Now, this is incredible. Look at the reward currently for this stable pool. 12, almost 13%. Now, granted, remember, this is prior 7 days performance. This doesn't mean that this is going to be the next 7 days. It could be 1% the next 7 days. This is just the prior 7 days. But this is freaking insane. You made 13% just on holding stable coins in an LP that don't really move against each other. That's pretty incredible. I mean, that's incredible. That's more than what you're earning right now in the PulseX farm, which is what, 10% and change. Let me go back there and double check.
Yeah, 10
with it,
10.86%. So you look at this stable pool and you're like, I can make more money in a stable pool. This is essentially just like a savings account, right? Because stable coins aren't really going to change too much. You might get a little bit of impermanent loss because you can see the USDC compared to DAI, compared to Tether is a little different right now, but it's very, 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 very small. And 13% is ridiculous. Honestly, the last time I looked at this was a few days ago, and this was like 3%. And so this is going to, because it's new, it's going to take a while for this to find sort of a level playing field, especially as more money comes in or more money goes out. Right now, liquidity is currently 327. Okay. But yeah, this is pretty cool. And not only that, but this gives people an incentive to bring stable coins. Remember, these stable coins are Ethereum. So this gives people an incentive to bring their stable coins from Ethereum over to Pulse Chain, add liquidity, and then provide that liquidity pool and earn your reward. So what does this do? First, it allows you to increase the stable coins on Pulse Chain. So when people feel the need to want to pull the trigger, the money is already on Pulse Chain. So that's fantastic. If they want to buy Hex, if they want to buy Pulse Chain, if they want to buy eHex or pHex or Inc or whatever other coin, meme coin or that you want, the money is there, ready to be deployed into the ecosystem. But second, this allows for better swaps. So I did a trade this morning, and I did a trade yesterday, and I was comparing it to Pitius and some other places. And you know what's funny? I got the best deal straight from PulseX V2. And the reason is because this stable pool allows them to reduce the cost of swapping coins, because you can swap from a coin. So it might take you from Pulse Chain, your Pulse Chain token, to a stable coin, to PulseX, to Inc. But it gives you more opportunities to route that transaction through a stable coins. And the larger the liquidity is, the better savings that you will get on that trade. The last time I looked, it was 36%. That was pretty early on in when they added these. So we saved about 36%. But now we'll see. We'll see. I haven't looked recently, but this is really cool. Nate, Will, what else do you guys want to add to this?
I wanted to know if. Go ahead, Nate.
Yeah. No, you go ahead. Well, you were kind of already in the middle of it.
I was going to ask, do we know if they pay out in fees from the trades, or is it incentive?
So it should be Pulse from the fees. Basically, every time somebody's using Pulse X, the fees are always going through Pulse, right? You know, the gas fees and all that. And so, yeah, that'll be paid out to the people who are staking, or not staking, providing LP. And actually, there's something very interesting with that. You're going to get your LP tokens, because what ends up happening is whenever you throw these, in this case, it's a trilateral pie, right? When you throw your tokens in there, in this case, stable coins, what you get back as a representative, excuse my English, is you get LP tokens. Now, these tokens are basically you saying, hey, this is my ticket, right? Of, hey, I can go ahead and grab these back if I want to pull them out. Now, the cool thing is that this, usually what you need to do to actually provide and get the fees is enable to encourage, for protocols, enable to encourage people to want to keep their coins in there and not just willy-nilly pull them out and put them back in and have it be very volatile like that, is they have you stake them. Okay. And this is where the odd thing was. And a certain member of our community went ahead and threw a whole bunch of stables in there and then was like, okay, what do I do with them? Help. And I was telling him, you gotta stake them. And he's like, but there's no place to stake. And I thought, well, that's interesting, because most every other protocol does this. Well, I find it interesting that all you need to do is just hold them in your wallet and you're going to be getting the fees. Now, this has got me curious. Why is he doing this? Maybe this is actually going to be a future thing. Okay, maybe it's going to be staking later on or whatever, and maybe you'll get incentive token for it, right? However,
but there is a benefit, Nate, right? Because they're adding this liquidity, they're allowing for cheaper swaps on PulseX. So this liquidity is very beneficial to the platform, and it's very beneficial to the people that actually want to use PulseX. Now, personally, I try to use as many. I try to use PulseX more than any other aggregator, because I want them to buy and burn the PulseX. Every time I make a transaction, I want PulseX to be bought and burned. I really do. And so even if I use Pidius, I kind of like look at, see how it's, what the route that it's going through before I pull the trigger there. And if it's not a big difference for me, I'm just going to make sure that it routes through PulseX. And again, because I like PulseX, the buy and burn is going to make this coin very profitable for a lot of us, in my opinion, not financial advice. In the future, the more it's bought and the more it's burnt, the better for all of us. But this liquidity is huge because of that. Because Nate, also, right? Like, more people are going to use PulseX now because it's cheaper than it was previously. So it's
absolutely, and bigger whales.
Yeah,
bigger whales will. And the thing, so that's actually when Richard Hart posted on X about, hey, we have the stable pools now. When he posted that, he was specifically saying, like, it wasn't impressive numbers. You can actually pull it. Actually, let's pull up his tweet about that. Do you got that on hand, Brendan?
Let me see if I have it on hand. Let me stop sharing here.
Yeah. While you're doing that, I'm going to finish what I was kind of saying. I think that there might be something coming out either on PulseX or maybe on some other decks where you can actually use those LP tokens and put them into a farm of some kind. So not only are you encouraged to put your stables into PulseX and provide liquidity, which is going to make us all happy, right? Especially bigger whales. But you're also going to be able to then farm that LP token for just like a double whammy. So you're receiving fees, and then you could also be farming. The only issue with that I could see is, I believe you're going to need to hold the tokens themselves in your wallet for the fees to come through. So it would have to be some kind of farm where you don't actually have to leave the wallet. And I think that's the new technology that is probably going to have to come out for us. So for you creators out there, there's something you can do. I'll tell you what, you come out with that, it's going to be a huge protocol.
Huge.
Huge.
Miss Producer, if we could share that. Thank you. So here we can see this was Richard Hart's original tweet. Why does the new PulseX version 107? Now we're already at 109, so a little bit more improvements. Why is it kick ass? Left side is a stable swap off. Remember, you can figure out how you want to route. You can customize that routing. So see there where it says customize routing. You can make sure that everything is on to reduce your slippage, or you can go through specific ways that you want. Right side has it on 0.51% slippage. That's 36% less slippage. So that means you're getting more tokens than you would have previously because liquidity. Stable swap liquidity is important. And look, this is the beauty of Pulse Chain. This was code copied, I believe, from Curve Protocol. Correct me if I'm wrong. And it was already up and running, ready to go. Some slight changes, and boom, off to the races. So this has been a huge benefit. Now, there is actually something else that I would like to share here. I'm going to share my screen one more time, and I don't think that this was possible before. Let me share my screen for PulseX again. But you can actually, when you swap, my wallet's not connected, so it's not going to show here. But when you connect your wallet, you can also swap, and then down the bottom below what you receive, there's a little toggle switch, and you can toggle it on and off, and it says send to new wallet. So you can actually swap Pulse into PulseX and automatically have that sent to a new wallet all in one transaction. So that reduces your costs if you want to spread your coins between multiple wallets, right? If you want to be safer and more secure, have multiple wallets, have more coins in there. It just allows you to do more things. So it's a beautiful interface. The stable swaps have had a lot of benefit, a lot of liquidity. And then there's some small quality of life upgrades, like being able to send coins to new wallets. Now, I think, and you guys can give your opinion, I think what they're trying to build here is the ability to send coins without being seen. So it's not going to be able to show what wallet is sending coins to coins. Now, don't quote me on that. It's just a thought of mine. But what if there was a way that these coins could be sent and it didn't go through a mixer per se, but automatically you couldn't see what wallet sent to what wallet?
That's one hell of a thing, man. I haven't thought about
brother.
that one yet. Okay, so I could see how that would work, but the transaction would have to be sent someplace, and then it would have to appear someplace.
Correct. It would have to be some sort of mixer type, but it's a technology that wouldn't necessarily have to be a mixer because it's built into the protocol, like a smart contract.
I don't see, you know what? I need to study a little bit more on mixers because, to tell you the truth, I've stayed away from them a little bit, and I haven't actually studied in how they mix it up, other than just saying, hey, we sent them to all of these addresses, and instead it went to one specific one that you wanted, right? Kind of like how a proxy or like a VPN does it, you know?
Yeah.
Proxy servers. And I could see that.
And I'm not sure. It's just a thought process that I've had, but I know that Richard Hart is really about security and he's really about privacy. So for that to be something that's being built out, that would make Pulse Chain something unique from nobody else had it, right? Yeah. Now, granted, they could copy that back over to ETH because same code, no problem, right? But imagine that Pulse Chain was the first place that you could swap tokens and send it to a wallet and not be able to follow a trace. That would be incredible. I'm not saying it's possible. I'm not a builder. I'm not a dev. I don't write code, but I think there's a possibility here. I really do.
That certainly would be interesting.
Will, Damn. What do you think about all this stuff we're talking about, buddy? Will Stevenson!
My bad. I lost attention there for a second. What were we on?
I'm just saying, how you doing, buddy?
I zoned out there totally. We were talking about the
PulseX, and we were talking about Richard Hart's tweet adding liquidity in the stability pools.
Yeah. It's a nifty new feature, man. I'm excited to see like all of the nuances and all the subtleties that change now that PulseX is like, I mean, it's already the dominant exchange on the chain, and that's now just going to be even more serious. So it's going to be good. It's going to be great. How's the audio, by the way? Is it better?
Yeah.
All right, sweet. Yeah, I've tweaked some things.
And I guess we should say, let's get some Degens on here. So if anyone wants to join, I think the link has been sent out. If not, it is being sent out right now. We would love to have a drink with all of our family on the Degen Roundtable. So if you want to come join, talk about Pulse Chain, talk about the new changes to the PulseX interface, version 1.09. If you want to talk about the Fed, if you want to talk about interest rates, CPI, all that kind of stuff, open forum. If you want to come talk about something that you're interested in, you're excited about, or just come on for a drink, hop on over here. Let's get some people in. So we will have some people on soon. In the meantime, I would also like to add, I have one more tweet here to pull up. I'm not going to pull that tweet up. It's too long. Far too long. So the other thing is we talked about, I'm going to share my screen one more time just while we're waiting for people to get on. I want to bring up the CME Fed Watch tool because with the CPI numbers coming out, we have some updates in, I kind of mentioned this before, updates in the percentages of what the rate cuts are going to look like. So this is the meeting in 1 week. This, again, 1 week ago was 50-50 between 50 basis point cut and 25 basis point cut. Now it's 85% likely by the Fed Watch tool. It's 100%, 99.9% likely in my mind that we are going to see a 25 basis point cut. So you might ask, well, we have 2 more Fed meetings before the end of the year. Well, what are the percentages have changed there? Well, here at the November meeting, we have a 48% chance of a 25 basis point, assuming they have a 25 basis point cut in September. That would mean 48% chance we have another 25 basis point cut. And we have 2 other options here now, a 50 basis point cut and a 75 basis point cut. So if we start taking down more rapidly, if inflation continues to come down, if unemployment continues to rise, then we could see them in November or December start to maybe bump 50% basis points. Now, I don't think that's likely. I would still personally give it above a 50% chance for us to just have 25 basis points in September, 25 basis points in November, and then see what happens for December. But let's click on December, see where we are here. So remember, our current rate is 525 to 550. So they're thinking by December, we could have anywhere from 100 to 125 basis points reduced from our current federal funds rate. Now, I think that's a little bit high in their expectations and how fast they're expecting the Fed to cut interest rates. But this is market sentiment. So this is important things for us to pay attention to. And I think that it's interesting. Now, this could come down faster. Them thinking that this is coming down faster might make them weary of a recession, and so therefore, they want this to come down a bit faster. But we shall see. We shall see.
Yeah, possibly. So, Brendan, I was kind of curious. What did you think about the debate last night?
Well, can we table that? Can we do chat shout outs first?
Okay, fine. We'll blue balls everyone over here.
because I think that would be a good conversation as we get more people on too. So let's go to chat shout outs. I don't have a fancy paper like Mr. Will Stevenson. He doesn't have a camera to put up his little paper on. So
I'm holding it, guys. I'm holding it. You just can't see it.
I'm imagining it right now.
Yep. It
Tin
looks
Top.
just like it always has.
Tin Top, what's up, Hexicans? What's up, brother? We are ready to see green candles. That's what we're ready for. We have Pulse Chain Altcoin Talk. Hexicans will win big. And I kind of pool Hexicans and Pulsicans in because I feel like myself, I'm both Pulse Chain and Hexican, but yes, I think all of us that are in the Richard Hart ecosystem, especially the core coins, are going to win. And I'm very excited, even if it takes a little bit of delayed gratification for us to get there. Mr. Samuel Stevenson, like the video. Yes, please like, subscribe, join our Telegram, because in our Telegram, you will see us talking about when we're going to start removing LPs from our farms and removing liquidity in farms from Pulse Chain because we're worried about impermanent loss. If you want that kind of information, you need to join our Telegram. It's currently free. Not always going to be free. Who we got next? We have Mr. Angry Twinkie. What is good, my friend? I'm pretty sure I know why he's called Mr. Angry Twinkie, because the old Twinkies had more cream filled in them and they were more delicious. And then when they were bought out and remade, they just weren't as good. So I'd be pretty.
I remember that back in the 90s.
Man, what year was that? The great Twinkie removal, whatever.
The big Twinkie removal.
Dang.
And then somebody bought them out and re-put them on the market, and they were trash compared to the originals. What's new?
Yeah.
That's when Gary started Gary the semen demon started liking cream, and so he started sucking out all the cream on them.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I don't think that was necessary for me to imagine. Next on the list. Mexican lost in Asia. Yes, we are at the top of the bull market. We are somewhere, my friend. Look, in every bull market that we've had, in every cycle, last cycle and the cycle before, if you look at the dips, think about how people felt during those dips that seemed deeper than they imagined at the time. They were scared. But the people that held and the people that had conviction were paid off very nicely. Not any, future past performance is no indication of future, but I think if we're patient, we're going to pay it off nicely as well. Mr. Frank White, great to see you, buddy. Bang, bang, Degen gang. Thank you always for joining, sir. And our favorite tentless, homeless farmer, Jay Brown. You can't tell me what to do. Okay. But
he's mad because I told him he needs to get in here and talk about how much he loves Kamala Harris. He's a fan of Kamala, by the way. Like, he's a diehard fan of Kamala Harris.
Let's get on the stream. Let's get people on here. Let's talk about it. All right. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Headboard Harris. Oh, my gosh. Oh, can we put the last comment from Farmer Jay up there? The Twinkies used to be more cream-filled than Heels Up Harris. Oh, my.
Why did you have to get us going down that road?
Guys, all right, you know what?
Thanks, Angry Twinkie.
Reverse it.
Oh
man. All right, that is all over the chat shout-outs. I want to thank everybody for joining. If you are in the chat and you aren't on stream, I need to ask, why not? Come join us. Nate, can you put the invite into some of our other chats that we have, not just maybe our personal chat, but
oh, no, I did.
Cool, perfect.
It is in our community chat, guys. So yeah, get the hell in here. Hey, Battle Hardened Sniper, when are you gonna get in here? I know you got a camera. I know you got a mic. You got to get in here, man. Like you. Oh, come on.
Let's get in here. Come get in here like this Jameson in my glass.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
First drink of the night. Now I'm having knee issues, so I have to not been really drinking, and so I need to be careful about my intake, and so I will have small glass to commemorate this lovely.
I always thought it'd be better because that way you don't feel the pain, and then you can start dancing again.
You know what's funny, Nate? I was at a wedding this past Saturday, and this is kind of part of the problem of going towards getting worse. Is I had a lot of pain, and every day it was getting worse. But I kind of deal well with pain, which is good and bad in some cases. In this case, bad because I just kept pushing it. And then at the wedding, had all these drinks, and I said to Brenda, I was like, I thought these drinks were going to take the pain away. They haven't at all. So honestly, man, this is a really unique pain. It's a unique pain where the bottle ain't helping. Nope. So just cutting back, eating a bit healthier, and trying to get back to tip-top shape.
Excellent. That's what we like to hear.
So you asked me a question, Nate, previously. You asked me how I thought the debate went last night.
Yeah.
I did watch the whole debate, and I'm here to tell you that there's no new information after the debate than there was before the debate. All of the narratives have stayed exactly the same. Now, I will say that I think Kamala Harris was a bit more prepared for the debate. I think that Trump thought he could just go in there and, win the debate, knockout punch, no big deal. I think that he was kind of lulled into a false sense of security after the CNN debate where they had, I will say, pretty unbiased and pretty fair moderators. In this case, they had neither. They had very, very biased moderators that were really essentially arguing with Trump as much as Kamala Harris was, which is not what a debate's supposed to be about. But they fact-checked Trump 4 times or 5 times, and they did not fact-check Kamala, even though she continued to lie and push false narratives that have been debunked multiple times. They also, anytime that she didn't answer a question, they never once repeated the question to her. Hey, you didn't answer the question. Multiple times they said to Trump, hey, you didn't answer the question. Now, neither person was answering the question. We know that. That's how it works in debates. But they kept trying to hold Trump's feet to the fire to answer a question, and they didn't do that with Kamala. In fact, multiple times, Trump was arguing with the people that were fact-checking him because it turns out he was right and they were wrong with their fact checks, which is hilarious, by the way. But nonetheless, I thought that Trump could have done better. I thought he had a lot of opportunities to land some better punches and maybe some knockout punches. The best thing that he said was at the end of the night, his closing speech. He should have opened that. He should have opened the debate with, you've been here 3.5 years, and you keep saying when you get into office, you're going to fix all these things, but you've been in as vice president for 3.5 years, and your administration hasn't changed anything. So what makes us think that you becoming president's going to make changes? Also, you literally copy and pasted Biden's campaign promises on his website to your website. You didn't put anything new. You just plagiarized his website. And then lastly, you still haven't answered anything about how you're going to fix the economy. You haven't answered anything about how you're going to help wind down these wars in Russia and Ukraine and Israel and Hamas. And in fact, how you're going to keep wars from happening. So the things that I really wanted him to press her on, he didn't press her on enough. And I will say that even though she came off prepared, everything was clearly just memorized, nothing about policy. It was just platitudes, right? It was like, and we don't want someone like this in office. We want someone that's going to care for the people and care for the middle class, but without actually laying out how you're going to care for the middle class, which you haven't done in your current administration. So look, nothing's changed. The media is still biased, and anyone that thinks the media is biased is going to think that even more after this debate. People that thought that Trump is going to be better on the economy and better with international policy is going to continue to think that Trump has better international policy, better potential to end wars. And anyone that liked Kamala because they hate Trump, well, they probably aren't changing their mind anyway. So I don't know what this debate did, but it was an interesting train wreck to watch.
I heard from all the places I've seen. I mean, this is discounting all the people that are just posting memes that basically just like they took the juiciest clips and they snipped it out of context and they moved things around to basically present their little campfire stories and things. The basic consensus that I've seen from places on Twitter and Facebook that it was a big nothing burger and nothing new is found out. There wasn't like any ground being broken. People that were already on one side or the other, they're just even more on that one side or on the other side. So I don't know. Perhaps it was a big waste of time. Perhaps it was useful. I didn't even bother watching it. This is just the sentiment read of me looking around on the market. Nate, do you have any thoughts on anything regarding the debate?
Yeah. So, Brendan, you're right. Will, you're right. Basically, this particular election, everybody who's going to be on either side is already on that side. There really isn't anybody left who needs convincing.
I think, well, Nate, before you continue, I'm an independent. I'm not a Trump fan. I'm not gonna go out there and say that, but I do think his policies are better for current state of the.
Absolutely. And it looks like you are frozen there, Brendan. So, Will, what do you think about his policies? I'm joking.
About Trump's?
Yeah.
Well, I used to like that he wasn't particularly fond of war. I've kind of sort of changed my stance on America and war. because it is basically our primary export for like the world. So like I like looking up to people in power that strike me as competent. I like looking up to people in power that are giving me more tools with which I can use to achieve my own goals and to make whatever I want to happen. So like basically anybody that's out there on my side fighting to empower me and give me more abilities rather than restrict like freedoms or movements or things like that. That's the general gist of what I'm looking for is like I'm more interested in libertarian aspects, and if I had to choose one leaning or the other, I would probably lean more conservative simply because there's more freedom and ability in there. But like ultimately I think that both sides of this little nightmare is freaking ridiculous. I say bring in the ranked choice voting, and like it's not going to happen. Like all the things that I want to happen are not going to happen. So it's all just pie in the sky. But like I will quote Sami in that it doesn't matter who gets elected because the money printer is going to turn on and it's going to pump our bags, and we'll have plenty of money to be able to deal with whatever the fallout is going to happen should everything go the way that we hope and predict it will. So those are my thoughts. I can't really answer your question on policy because truthfully, bro, I don't know the policies. So like I'm fond of the general idea that Trump wants to incentivize more things that make America powerful and stuff. So that's kind of cool because I live in America, so I'm about it. And I like people that strike me as strong leaders, even if they're like arrogant or whatever the hell. Like I like falling behind strength rather than falling behind lack of strength or anything of that nature. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah, well, it's a good point. And one of the things for me that I've really struggled with is the current wars that are happening. I mean, millions of people around the world dying. Now, look, you could say Hamas doesn't care who's in power. They would have done a terrorist attack against Israel either way. I don't know if that's true. But I will say, okay, maybe I give you that one. Maybe that still would have happened, but maybe what has happened since would have been cleaned up by now. Maybe it would have been able to find some sort of peaceful resolution through a strong president or strong administration. But one thing I can tell you, and I feel very strongly about, is I do not think the Russia-Ukraine war would have happened if Trump was in office. And that is because he actually has conversations with people that he likes and doesn't like. And you might say, oh, he's best buds with Putin. Look, I don't think he is, but I think they have really good dialogue, and I think that they have some respect for each other. And look, if you can't have dialogue with a foreign leader, then you're not going to have the ability to keep them from going to war against somebody else. So look, I think this war was more preventable, a lot more preventable. And I don't think we would be in it if someone else was in this administration. Like you said, Will, someone that's stronger, somebody that actually has the ability to converse with other strong leaders around the world that, look, you might say, look, Trump is disrespected. Everyone doesn't like him around the world. You know who respects Trump? The people that wouldn't have gone to war on his watch. The people that didn't go to war on his watch. Those are the people that respect Trump. Now, again, I'm not the big Trump fan. I'm more a libertarian as I get older. I want less government. I am conservative, especially fiscally and I guess conservatively from all standpoints. But I really don't like either party. I don't think either party fully has our best interests at hand. But I think that one has more than another. And another thing that's important to me is freedom of speech. That is something that is really big, and I think that's something that is really sort of teetering on the edge. We're seeing Brazil shut down X. We're seeing France and the UK shut people down and take them to prison because they're tweeting things or putting in what they consider misinformation. And they're sending them to jail. In fact, they're letting in the UK, they're letting people out of jail early so that they can put people into jail that are tweeting things that they don't like. That's wild to me. And so I do love that the First Amendment The very first amendment that the United States was founded upon was the freedom of speech. And there's a reason for that, because it's the most important. Without the freedom of speech, everything else fails. Everything else fails in democracy without the freedom of speech. And so that's why I don't think Elon's like the best free speech person of all time, but guess what? He's a lot better than anything else going on out there right now. And I appreciate that. So I want more of that. And I think that there's one potential candidate that will help with that, and one that will continue to push down more sort of security state from the three-letter agencies.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the big things that if you look at like us, right, we're crypto people. Okay. Now, the majority of crypto people are people who want freedom of speech, freedom of movement, right? They already know that the current system we're in is screwed up.
Not XRP.
And, well, they want to connect themselves, right? But yeah, that's that. Now Bitcoin, unfortunately, wants to connect themselves to the large institutions and governments too. But it is what it is. You get to a certain point, right? However, the majority of crypto people, yeah, that's what they look for. That's what they want. So when you're looking at like leaders, world leaders who are going to inspire freedom, who are going to allow people to just be people. I mean, when you go back in America's history, right, the reason why we became the greatest country on the planet is literally because the whole concept was like, hey, I'll leave you alone, you leave me alone. Okay, maybe we could help each other if we really need it, but otherwise just go about our daily lives and just do things and get things done. And then we immigrated a bunch of other people, a lot of people who were like, all I want to do is just be free to do what I want to do. And I just want to get stuff done. And when you had an entire world of governments at that time who were trying to control their people, the United States of America was the only one sitting there saying, yeah, you guys, we've got some rules over here. There's some culture here that we want you to abide by. But aside from those small amount of things, the whole idea is you just do what you do. And so everybody came over here, and you know what happened? We shot through the roof in essence of power, just overall world stage power. And this is where, like, I kind of, it's hard to imagine a world where the United States of America is completely taken over by, like, fascists or communists or something like that, right? Because even with the amount of propaganda and the amount of power being pushed against us all, we Americans are still sitting here literally fighting it off by just getting pissed off and angry. And when I was watching the debate, that's kind of what I was seeing. I was seeing like a pissed off old man who's sitting there basically the entire time yelling at Kamala about, hey, you've been in the office and you haven't done this, you haven't done that, and this is what you guys have been doing for years now, and why do you keep doing that? I do not want to have that happen. And all I was hearing was, this is what the American people have been yelling about forever. I remember back in like in the 20-teens having political conversations with people, and the only thing you would ever hear is like, they're all corrupt, it doesn't matter, don't care, they're just going to do what they're going to do, and you just have to try and live by all that. But I hate it, right? That's all you would ever hear. And I think that sentiment has finally hit a point now where we've got someone like Donald Trump, who's basically that person. He is an American, right? He is one of those people who he's a citizen. He's a citizen trying to be president, right? Whereas Kamala, what I noticed about her is whenever she was trying to say something, she would always speak in words of like, hell yes, the future, and look forward to the good times ahead and all this, and just vote me in. If we have him, everything's going to be bad, bad, bad. But if we have me, we got hope again, and there's going to be a future, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, we've been hearing that for so many years, and all I was hearing was there was two people on the stage. There was a citizen, and then there was a politician. That's all that I was truly hearing.
You know what's interesting, Nate? If you just mute the debate and don't listen to it and just watch their physical interactions, Trump was what he hasn't been in the past. Demure. Okay, I'm kind of joking using that word because it's big right now. But he was just there. He was just there, always looking ahead. Once in a while, he would shake his head, But Harris was always like, always making faces, always doing something. And she kind of came off unprofessional, which I don't think is what she wanted to do. And, her words sounded great, but they didn't mean anything. It was empty of substance. And
void, yeah.
Completely void of substance. And what everyone has been asking for, even people in the Democratic side of the party, even people that are supporting her, like Gavin Newsom, have said, I want to hear what her policies are. I want to hear her to talk more. I want her to say what she wants to do with this country. But she's not. She won't, because she doesn't have a plan, in my opinion. And look, she didn't even win a primary to get here. She didn't win a primary in 2020 when she was running for president. She has never won a primary, and here she is running for president. That is wild to me. Wild to me. That is anti-democratic, if anything, right? If you say, hey, Trump gets elected, he's going to be end of democracy. I'm sorry. Democracy is allowing the people to vote in your candidate. That is democracy. And I could continue.
Yeah, I was wondering if Will had something to say about that, because he kind of came off for a little bit.
Well, I had seen a comment from Ian Carroll. For those of you guys who don't know, shout out to Cancel This Clothing Company, Ian Carroll. He had mentioned also how cool it would be to see Robert Kennedy, RFK Jr., with like up against Kamala on the stage. Like, so a little bit younger of a gentleman, a little bit more like well spoken and shit. And not to mention bench pressing, I think 135 on the street at however old he is, just fucking jacked and juicy. Like that was a cool. I think it would have been. I'm sick of all the vapid showmanship. Or just lack of substance. Like you were saying, Kamala's words, it just seemed empty. Like, she's never really struck me as a person of substance. Like, I don't know if I could trust her in a bar fight, or like to cover my 6 in a foxhole or something. Like, I don't know if I would do that with Trump either, but I know he would at least be talking shit to the guys on the other side. Like, I don't know. It seems like it's just a.
Will, to be fair, he did get shot at, and he actually got hit, and he acted the way he acted. So maybe the foxhole, maybe he would actually be pretty good to have.
Maybe, but the point is, like, it's like I've taken a drink of a Coke, and I've set it out on a table, and it's gone flat because it's been sitting there for 40 years, and there's nothing left. It's just a syrupy water, and it's disgusting and gross, and it's like. Man, like, there's 340 fucking million Americans, and these are the top 2 choices. Outstanding.
Yeah, look, I wish we had more options. I wish we had more parties. There are some drawbacks to ranked choice voting, which I know you mentioned earlier. But I would like more options. And look, Robert Kennedy Jr., I like a lot of what he says. I like a lot of what he talks about. And it was interesting that a Kennedy gets pushed out of the Democratic Party, of all people. So that's interesting. I wish that he was the Democratic nominee. I think that would be great. One of the people that I really like currently is Vivek Ramaswamy. I think that he is going to be really potential for future president, at least someone running for president. He's smart. He knows all of the topics. If you ask him about something, he knows the answers. And like you were saying, if RFK was in the debate, he knows the answers as well. He would have been able to respond, I think, with a little bit more poignancy and a little bit more specificity to be able to really hammer Kamala on things that she didn't talk about, things that she won't talk about. And I think Vivek in the future could be huge. I think RFK is probably his last go around, but I think he'll be involved. But I would like some people that are younger, like Vivek Ramaswamy, and we'll see what JD Vance goes. But Democratic Party, I don't even know who would be their next person that they'd push, because they'll push someone and then they'll just push somebody else. Like, they don't care.
No, somebody will pop up. Somebody will pop up in the next 4 years. But I'll tell you what, JD Vance has surprised me. I've watched a couple of his interviews, and I'm like, damn, this guy is sharp.
Yep.
Dude, like, okay, so you know about every single vice president who goes to CNN is going to get like, didn't you know that you're the guy who who's nominating you for
We're gonna
vice
try to catch
president
him
did
on
this
something,
and did that, and yeah, and I'll tell you what, yo, like the JD Vance comes back with, well, did you know about these stats that are actual
Every
stats?
time,
where you can
every time they
actually
try
go
to catch him, right?
uh-huh. Yeah, every single time. And he starts getting to the point where he very nicely, tells the person by name, the interviewer by name, and goes, well, here's the thing. You're purposely trying to do this and you're purposely trying to do that. And, that I think it's very dishonest that you're inviting me out here and then you purposely do this. It's like, whoa, yo, you're calling him out. Jesus. And they're like, well, we can't put this online. It's like, well, we have to because we already said we would. Oh, it's entertaining to say the least. And one of the things is like, I'm not necessarily a Trump fan. What I like about Trump is that he legitimately seems he seems legit about wanting to work for the people. He wants the people to be free. He wants the United States of America to be strong, right? I like that. Okay. And I can get behind that. However, I do think there's other choices that might be better, like a JD Vance. Like, dude, a dude like that, like, man, if we could get him in the White House, that would be absolutely insane. And I think
he needs a bit more experience, right? I think he needs a bit more experience. But
possibly.
So I like him, and honestly, going into this, I thought that was like the number one person I wanted Trump to choose for his running mate. In hindsight, I really like Vivek Ramaswamy. I think he's the best of the best. But him and JD Vance, I think they're really two really sharp young people that are going to be really helpful in moving the Republican Party forward over the next 4, 8, 12 years.
Yeah, one of the things that I was kind of thinking about it, right? Like, obviously, we're in the crypto world. We want our bags to pump, right? And it's like, okay, so
pump it up.
Yeah, exactly. So with what Will said is definitely correct. It's like, it doesn't really matter. The money printer is going to be printing. The M2 money supply is continuing on its cycle and all that. Liquidity cycle is all just keep going, right? However, one of the things that I find interesting is because of the way that, and this is one of the reasons why I think Trump is just kind of automatically going to win, is because number one, he's already got that popularity. Number two, he was shot and survived and acted like a true leader when that happened. Number three, everything that he believes in and he's trying really hard to is the same sort of thing that crypto people believe in. And crypto people, there's a lot of us, and we're all going to go vote if we have a fan in the White House who loves crypto, right? We're pretty crazy like that. And this goes for Bitcoiners, Ethereumers, Pulsicans. It doesn't matter. We are all crazy. It's like, crypto, yes, do it, please, right? Pump our bags. And so Trump has been hardcore trying his hardest to be best friends with the crypto crowd. And Kamala got as far as, hey, maybe I'll make an appearance at the Bitcoin conference, quickly got rejected very harshly by the Bitcoiners. And she hasn't touched it since. She has not touched crypto at all, which makes me think, why are you completely abandoning this large set of voters that are single-sided voters? Some crypto talk for you guys, right? But yeah, no, I find it interesting. And I think one of the main things about the voters who are voting for Trump right now, I think just on the majority are probably smarter than the majority of people. And so when you are listening to the debate and you're listening to Kamala be like, oh, it's all about hope and freedom and all these things, and we need to get that back, and we need to make America, great again, type of shit, right? When you start hearing her just talking about all the hopes of futures and things like that, people who are voting for Trump basically are saying, you're lying to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the majority of his voters are not going to be switching away from him simply because they're playing political, believe in freedom, believe in hope, the next 4 years, if you vote me in the next 4 years, would be great. And then Trump's like, no, it won't. and then everybody goes, And that's what
you
I'm
had
saying.
3.5 years and you did nothing. What makes you think that? Well, first of all, why do you need change if you're already in the White House? If everything's going so well, why are you going to go in and make changes? And second of all, why haven't you already?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the deal. I personally like. It was fun. Okay, it was fun to watch him kind of go at it. Truthfully,
I would have liked more. I would like the moderators to be more neutral. That was one thing that really bothered me.
Yeah,
but
yeah, that was annoying sometimes. Yeah, the memes are what I love watching though. It's since Trump has started going into all these debates, I'm like, oh hell yeah, I'm watching this shit. This is like Sunday Night Football for me. Because you just listen to him and he'll sit there and he'll throw these insults at people and you're like, oh, he just did that. It's what is that, WWE except for politics.
Yeah.
You guys remember last election cycle when Rogan offered to host a debate between Biden and Trump?
Yeah.
I think that would because like Rogan's a good conversationalist and he's like politically neutral-ish. I mean, he probably leans
he's more Democrat.
Yeah, he leans more centrist, which like the old version of centrist is now like alt-right or something. So like I think that would be
not alt-right. The old Democratic centrist is now essentially like left Republican, is like a Republican now.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that would be interesting. Like, I don't know who we got to call to get Rogan and Harris on Rogan.
Harris,
but
you won't see Harris speak again. She won't have a real interview. She hasn't had a real interview yet. And she had this debate, which was clearly like scripted. But I'd love to hear her talk. I really would. I'd love to hear more of what she wants to do with the country. Because
I want like a 3-hour podcast, like at least a dozen of them. If Harris did like a dozen 3-hour podcasts with like non-softball interview, like a 15-minute interview is fine and dandy, but like you really don't get to know someone in 15 minutes, especially if they're lobbing you softball questions and you're not having like a genuine, if they're just basically like spoon feeding you like your talking points. Like, hey, here's my list of talking points. Would you like to go ahead and like regurgitate them or something? So I don't know. It'd be cool to have him on Rogan. That would be nifty.
It would be. And look, it's #1 podcast, and I think it would get a ton of views, but I don't think Kamala would do that. She only chose this one because she knew it was going to be essentially a 3-on-1 debate. And she only, remember like a couple weeks ago, she had a CNN interview, but she needed her Thunder buddy with her, Mr. Walls.
I saw that. I couldn't believe it. I'm like,
awful.
And not only that, but she was like off to the side, and then he's like, it's like the actual interview, Tim Waltz, and then she's like kind of off to the side. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
this was your interview.
It's like bringing your parent to a job interview. Literally, that's what it felt like.
Hi, this is my dad.
But no, you know what's interesting? I joke about that, but I'm in the corporate world, and I talk to people that interview. I've seen a lot of people talk about recent college graduates bringing their parents to their interviews. This is like a real thing right now. It's like a real thing, and so like it's just hilarious to me to see her, have to bring someone and make her feel comfortable in an interview. Which, by the way, made her look worse, in my opinion. Yeah, so.
Well, it happened multiple times where she couldn't really answer the question. And so she was like, Tim, help. You could see her like, as she was, answering the question with just fluff, she's like looking over at Tim. Tim's like, oh,
my turn.
I'll help you out.
Crazy. So it looks like we only have about 25 minutes left in the show, but it looks like a couple people might want to pop on for a few minutes, which is fine by me. We got some people in the waiting room.
Hell yeah.
Yes, we do. And we're going to get them on real shortly. And they're going to come in with some fire because I know these two, they really, they always come in with fire. We got first up, Donnie D. What the fuck is up, man? And then of course we got Paul Sachs over here. He's just
What is up, guys?
Making sure the dog ain't dying. Sorry.
How we doing?
What is up? Cheers
What
to
up,
you. How else for Whiskey Wednesday? One of you
Cheers.
guys,
Yes, indeed. Canadian whiskey. Let's go.
Irish whiskey,
I'll,
but I'll allow it.
I'll
Oh,
open my final
I've only
beer
got
for
Canadian
you
Club,
guys.
bro.
Nothing wrong with that. You know, Canadian whiskey makes one of my favorite whiskey cocktails. It is called a Toronto. It is a pre-prohibition cocktail with Canadian whiskey, Fernet Branca, bitters, and it is delicious if it is done properly.
Fair enough. Nice.
So, Donnie T, what's going on, buddy?
Not a lot, to be honest. Things have been pretty busy in the dev world. Not much that, normal people would really have an interest in, I don't think. I've been migrating to a new machine since my current laptop basically died. Yeah, it did. Lucky for me, I have everything on an external hard drive, though. So, there is that. But, shit. Function Island Dex is going all right. We brought a new staking pool online to bring some more PLS liquidity against Island. We just finished testing our new VE NFT voting governance system that I've been engineering. And that's about to be launched with our new fund that's coming up as well. Same old shit, just another different day and another bottle of whiskey, boys.
Cheers to
Hey, I
that.
love it. Actually, Donnie, I have a question to ask you after we introduce whoever this is down here.
Sure. Full sex. What you
What
doing,
up,
buddy?
boys? No, not a whole lot. Just got back from road trip a little bit. I had that same scare. Couldn't find my master password for a password manager on Saturday. So, shit. Yeah. Fortunately, I had a linked computer with it. Was able to export the file, but yeah, I thought I lost all my fucking passwords.
Oh, boy.
That would have been
Exactly.
very-
Yeah.
It's like losing a seed phrase, basically.
Yeah.
Exactly. Except, nowhere near as bad. I mean, look, seed phrases, money, passwords, they can be reset.
Yeah, master password is control of everything. So yeah, that was rough for a few hours. Figured it out finally. Golden Road Blonde Ale, something I picked up out in Denver.
Oh,
That's
this is
what-
password,
that's what I
guys. You
drink
got
on.
it.
Is that made in Denver? Is that a Denver beer?
Yeah.
Can we get a little gander of the
cheers.
can?
Safe.
Salute! Oh, Denver Broncos! Boo!
Wow.
How about that
No.
Vikings game, eh?
No, we're
Yeah,
gonna get we're gonna
sports
get
ball.
we're gonna get trashed this year. So
Full sex. Who's your team?
Broncos. That's where my family's all from. We're all from out
Okay.
there. So
I'm a Patriots fan, born and raised Boston. So
I figured.
no longer
I
like you,
saw you
Brendan.
celebrating the Celtics.
yeah, buddy.
It's all good. You're in the same boat as we are. Same camp.
Yep. At least we got a good defense, though.
What you building over there, Donnie? What were you working on?
So in regards to Function Island, yeah, sorry, I'm in two places at once right now. Basically a DEX, a staking protocol, a one-stop DeFi shop. Basically, if you think of something that is out there or has been demonstrated by battle-tested code, we like to get a copy of it, refine it, update it, put our spin on it, and make it into a turnkey solution for others. Function Island is basically, well, like I said, it's a DEX and staking protocol first and foremost, but its particular claim to fame around the areas and around the space is that we componentalize everything that we do and we turn it into a vendable package for other projects, right? I've had at least 3 or 4 other projects approach me over the last, I want to say 6 months, basically saying, hey, look, how do you guys do that? And we've ended up vending either a front end or a fully furnished contract that's been run on Function Island before to those people. So,
Interesting.
Making money. I like it. Making the
That's
whole
it.
chain a better place.
that's exactly right, man. It's the chain we've been given. It's the one we've got. So might as well make the best of it.
Yeah.
So, Donnie, I think Nate has a question for you, and then I might have a question after that.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So earlier in the show, we were talking about the stables pool for Pulse X, right?
Okay.
Awesome. However, what you do is you just simply, put your coins into the pool, and then you get your LP tokens, and then you just hold them.
Right.
So is there a way that you're able to make a farm that you could use those LP tokens, put them in there, but still have them in your wallet or act like they're in your wallet, and then to be able to grab the fees?
Okay, I want to say yes. There is always a way to do something like that. Programming is a wonderful thing. I think it would be tricky though, because how I'm immediately thinking that I would establish something like that would be similar to the onboard stable backed system that I've already built with DAI and iDAI on Function Island. Basically, you would be taking in those LP tokens as like a collateral of sorts, and being able to measure what value that collateral represents. You would basically issue a synthetic ERC20 to represent that value that someone could spend elsewhere. Now, given enough recognition or use like of those synthetic tokens, eventually it would start to be recognized that that token is representative of $1. You have the backing in your reserve contract. You could then, on the reserve contract, include some kind of rebase function that looks at what you've put in and what's there now to readjust and then subtract profits to like print extra rewards or something. Yeah, I mean, short answer, yes, it's possible to do what you're asking. Long answer is, yeah, I mean, that's roughly how I'd do it.
Interesting. So what would that front end look like then? So just imagining, we actually build this out. Like, what would that look like? What do you think?
Okay, so we'd probably need just like a box in the middle, right? I'm talking like maybe 6 out of 12 columns. We'd have the 3 input fields so people can obviously flash their stable coins into the LP. And then we'd have like a deposit control to put the LPs into the reserve contract. We'd have a redeem control that allows you to then like put back your synthetic tokens to retrieve your collateral. And we'd probably have like a third button on the UI that just says like rebalance or rebase or something like that. And that'd be where that advanced recalculation and fee subtraction function would go. So I could make it very, very simple.
That'd be epic. That'd be awesome, actually. We should do that.
I mean, is that a challenge, sir?
Is that a challenge? Well, maybe I'll talk to you later on about this.
Excellent. Wonderful. Well, you know how to get at me, man. Absolutely.
Looks like we have one more person that might want to join the stream.
Another one. It's the Positivity Princess.
Oh, SJ! Oh my god! Oh my god, it's SJ!
Wild SJ has arrived.
This is my
She
first appearance
appears.
on Whiskey Wednesday. I'm so stoked right now.
Oh boy.
What are you drinking? Have you got a drink?
Oh. Should I go get a drink? Do I have time to get
I
a
mean,
drink?
it is Whiskey Wednesday.
We will all cheers you.
I'm going to do it. I'm doing it. All right.
All right, we'll wait for
I
you.
have like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yep.
Talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back.
Go for
It's
it.
most important.
See? It's not peer pressure. It's just your turn.
So, Paul Sex, you said you were on a road trip. Was that just a fun jaunt, just to have some wait time?
Funerals are never fun, right? So
Ugh.
no, it was not wanted, but yeah, it's just family. So
Sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that. You know, as much as bad as funerals are, there's also, at least from my family, there's a blessing to it because I don't get to see a lot of my family, and I have a very big family, all in one place at one time. And so, even though it's somber and challenging, it is really beautiful at the same time for all of us to be there together.
yeah, same. Yeah, there's people I hadn't seen there in 20 years, so it was good for that.
Well, they haven't come on the Degen Roundtable enough. So, SJ, what you sipping on now?
What is that?
Hold on, wait for it. There, that way.
June Shine.
Shine. Is that like a cider?
Kombucha?
No, it's a kombucha.
Oh, hard
Okay.
kombucha.
Oh, kombucha?
Nice.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Yeah, I
healthy,
think it's
well,
a 6%. But yeah, 6% kombucha.
Nice.
Like, okay. I have a question about that shit. Seriously, I need to know. Is there actually like alive things in that drink? Or is it just like a...
It's like probiotics.
Oh, right. So it's like your Yakult almost.
That's what it means by the living. There's a living culture in it. It's like a
Right,
probiotic
right.
or prebiotic.
But
So,
yes,
I mean,
they're
really, the
live
same as
culture.
yogurt. Yogurt has cultures and shit in it too.
Exactly.
There
Yep.
you go.
Exactly.
Awesome.
What's up, fellas? Good to see y'all.
Yeah, it's been a while. Good to see you as well. What's new? How's
Yeah.
life?
Life's amazing. Life is wonderful. I just moved the bus from my mom's home, from her backyard to Long Beach, and I'm with a couple Hexicans now that live in this
Nice.
area. So like I get to be around more peers. Long Beach is a super happening town. It's like
Yeah.
I live now, I think like 10 minutes from the water. So I can actually like take care of, you know, like my mental. I love the ocean. Like it calms me. I feel like it's so refreshing. I did a stream once not too long ago, maybe like 4 or 5 months ago, when I was just like all anxious and I had all this stuff going on or whatever, and I just drove to the beach and I walked into the water and it was like I just like baptized myself. And it was cold, like it was, you know, it was cooler. And it just felt great. Like I feel a lot more alive living near the ocean after living in Austin, Texas for the last 16 years. It's nice to come back to California and to really take advantage of what it has to offer, because I don't feel like I did that when I was growing up here. Like we went to the beach, of course, like as a family and stuff, and I'd go snowboarding and things like that up in the mountains, but like I'm like, no, I'm just every day. Like I want to be on the beach. I want to see the water. I just started to learn how to surf. So
Nice.
yeah, I've come back
Making
to
the best of
embrace
it.
my Cali girl.
I love
Of
it.
course.
And so speaking of California is not too far from Las Vegas.
Accurate.
Have you got any updates on the Pulse Chain 369 tour?
Ooh, I wanted to come and thank you guys so much, because we were just kind of doing some reviewing and we're talking to different people about sponsorship and things like that. And of the tickets we have sold so far, most of them have, the ones that have used a code have used your Degen Roundtable code. So thank you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hell yeah. That's
Job
you
well
guys.
done.
That's all you.
Thank you, community.
Great
Thank you,
job.
community.
I just wanted to just encourage people. Like, I mean, obviously we're trying to get people signed up early. We only have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, until Sunday to get 36.9% off. 36, that's a lot of percent. So if you're thinking about getting a VIP ticket or a regular ticket or a different ticket, or if you want to sponsor the event somehow in some way, shape, or form, all of that information is on the website, pulsechaintour.com.
And don't forget to use the code DGEN. Don't forget to use the code DGEN before Sunday to get your 36.9% off.
Beautiful. I was going to ask that question as well. Perfect.
What's it roll down to? After that, what's the percentage go to?
Oh, that's a great question. I want to say 15, but it might be more than that.
We'll say 15.
I just heard this information, but yeah, it's definitely not as substantial.
I like 36.9.
I do too. Great. It's fantastic. So yeah, we got just a few more days for that, and y'all, like, having worked alongside Kaylin for the last 2 years, and I say this every chance I get, she really is the most undervalued and underappreciated person in our community. And a lot of that is because she doesn't do a lot of camera facing things, and she's not the kind of person that wants to be in the spotlight at all. But like, just the amount of things that not only is she involved with, but that she takes care of, and her like the scope and the vision that she has in her work with the Pulse Chain Foundation, with this tour, doing KSB. She's like this global citizen of the world that just has such a great grip and a handle on everything. All that to say, this is going to be the best conference, like, event, in-person gathering, I think, to date. And
ever.
Yeah, ever. Like we were just kind of talking about this in the back rooms with a couple people. Like, it's frustrating because of what happened in the past with someone else who will go unnamed, who tried to do this whole conference thing and just like talked it up and like told everyone all these things and made all these promises, and and none of that was delivered on. And in fact, many people lost and were scammed out of money, right? So like part of me is like almost doesn't want to say things because I'm like, man, like, you know, like what if they think that we're like that? And then I'm like, but we've just done this for the last 2 years and it's been great every time and it's just gonna keep getting better. So yeah, if you had a taste of the Pulse Masters golf tournament at all in the past, like this one's gonna be even more fantastic, even more well put together. We're gonna have like a VIP lounge, we're really doing it up this time. Like this is to me, this event is like the cornerstone of what we're building in the future, because like my tweet just said, we're not doing a lot of events anymore. We're going to focus on this one annual 369 conference every year, March 6th through 9th. At least that's kind of what we're thinking, or along those dates.
Whatever that weekend is, yeah.
But we do want, I love that RG has said forever that he wants to fill stadiums. And this is just step one on the way to doing that.
Look, I think it's fantastic. And I think March is also a unique time because we've kind of had a bit of a depression within the pulse chain market. But we have the court case in person coming up in October. If the case gets dismissed, it would probably happen sometime in like December, January.
Right.
That would be my guess. So what if it got dismissed little bit month or two before we throw this conference? Holy moly, that would be beautiful.
Yeah.
We would just be pumping into green candles, in my opinion, not financial advice. Leading up to the conference, it would just be a party. It would be a blast. Can't wait.
That'd be a massive party, I believe. So we should bring up Farmer Jay's
comment again. Yeah, I bought my discounted ticket while I was getting wasted at Yard House in Long Beach.
What?
Farmer Brown lives in California.
Wow, let's go. DM me. Let's go have a drink. I don't drink that much, but maybe I'll have an appetizer. You can have a drink.
Well,
Fantastic place, Yard House.
Yeah, hey, look,
I haven't been there in a long time, but yeah, I like that you can drink a yard. A yard, isn't that right?
A yard, yeah.
You can drink a yard.
36
From
inches
what?
of beer.
25 or 50 different handles they got on tap there.
It's
a lot. It's
depends.
a lot.
It depends on them. Back in the day, they used to have like 75 to 100 in some of them. But yeah, insane. And they even have gluten-free beer. So even like look out for little people like me.
Yeah, I think these are gluten-free too. I think a lot of people drink the kombuchas and the ciders because they're gluten-free.
Yep. Ciders, seltzers. Yep.
In for a penny, in for a pound. I do full damage and just go for straight alcohol.
That would be mostly what I do as well.
Woo!
Any more? What'd you guys do? The cruise last year? Did you guys do?
I'm actually getting ready to go on the next one. So the next cruise is September 29th. From the 29th through the 6th,
that's coming
we're
up.
going out of Galveston, and we are going to 2 different places in Mexico and Honduras as well.
Is CZ coming with you? Is that why you're leaving on the 29th? Because that's when he gets released from prison.
I thought I saw that name on our roster.
Oh, that'd be epic. I'm not even gonna lie. I'd get on
CZ
that.
goes into a prison and comes out a new man.
That needs to be a joke for your cruise. You guys need to have a little bass that you put up that CZ's face.
Bring him around.
You need to have a little a cardboard cutout of
Out of
CZ.
it. Yeah.
And it says, "I'm free.
I'm free.
Free.
Oh, man.
I'm free to buy Hex."
He just
Think
gets
about
off
how much
Mexico
money
and
he
stays
could have
there.
made.
Hey, random question. Does anyone else here use a Mac?
Nope.
Yeah.
I once
do.
did.
Okay. Do you use Safari or do you also download a browser like with Safari when you get a new machine?
I
Download.
use Chrome.
Fantastic. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
good.
use both, but I mainly prefer Chrome.
I say
Yep,
the hell
fair
away from
enough.
Safari.
Yeah, no, much the same. I've just finished downloading Brave.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll have issues with wallet connectivity with it. Unfortunately.
Well, that is exactly it too. Oh, look at us. Our browser's far too special for you.
Oh man.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most excellent. Yeah, we just got off a call about Vegas as well, talking about the like just who's gonna speak and what kind of panels we're gonna have and what like all of the involvement. It just, you guys don't miss this.
Speaking of,
Yeah,
Vegas actually ended up losing the party recently because I've actually got word. Well, all of us at Degen Protocol have. Black Sheep has actually started moving. He's moving elsewhere.
No.
He's like, yeah,
Out of Vegas.
yeah, out of Vegas. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, he's gone elsewhere. Yeah, just that
We're
time
gonna
in
have to
life,
move the conference.
something new. Yeah, I know, right? I was about to say,
Miami's a great place. Miami's a fun party city. I live in Miami. I know people.
All right. Okay.
yeah. Well, because I've actually been handling the live stream over at Degen Protocol these past 3 days.
Ah.
It's been the Donnie show.
Wow.
And you've been doing an outstanding job, by the way. Excellent work, Johnny.
So
Oh,
that's
cheers,
it.
bro.
Just to round out the events. So we have the cruise 29th. We have the Pulse Chain, the big event, right? In March. And then
Yep.
we have the golf outing in March.
Yep.
And then in October, on the 24th, we have the Richard Hart hearing, which we're making that, you're making that into a little bit of a meetup. I think people are coming from all over the world from that.
All over the world.
I understand. And then on the 25th, you guys are going to have some sort of a seminar, right?
Yes, and I'm glad you brought that up because that seminar, if we have enough RSVPs, I'm going to present to them the RSVP list of people who said that they're coming to the hearing, right? Because that's a number in and of itself. Whether or not all those people show up, who knows? Now, a more solid number is going to be for the seminar, right? Because obviously people that are going to come, then like the people that are coming to the seminar are obviously coming to the hearing, right?
Right.
So that number, if I can present that, we are speaking with Richard's lawyer team, and the hope is it's several things. If I present a high enough number to them, we may be able to secure an additional room where people, because the courtroom may be too small to hold all of us. So
Yep.
they may. If
They've
they,
been
I mean,
they know
that's
ahead of
almost a
time-
given. The amount of people that are going to turn up for that, that is going to be full house and a half. No
Well, that's
questions
exactly
asked.
it. Like they said that if we have a solid number, they said that they'll be able to get an overflow room for us to video stream in for these other people that want to watch it live as well. And then on top of that, depending on the number of people maybe, or like what else they have going on, they didn't say no, they were interested. We asked if they could, if maybe one of them would be willing to speak at that seminar.
Wow.
So yeah, so we're just like holding down the line. It's gonna kind of come to like down to the last minute, down to the wire, unless we get an influx of people that are like, oh yes, I'm coming to the seminar too. If we have a big number real quick, then I can present that. But if it's like a week or two before, I'm either way. I'm just gonna be like, look, these many people are coming. Please come speak. Like,
Well, look,
that's definitely in the cards. Like having one of the lawyers speak and let us know from his perspective or their perspective, about how they feel about this case and what it is that they can share with us, what they know, what they see, what they can foresee.
and just probably about crypto in its law in general. It would just be a lot. It'd be fantastic. So what SJ is saying is, if you've signed up as an RSVP to the Richard Hart court hearing case and you haven't signed up to the next day's event, please make sure you sign up to both events, because that Protecting Crypto Rights seminar on Friday is going to be awesome. There could
Lots
be
of great speakers already.
potential big hitters if we get enough people RSVP'd there. So if you're already planning on going, make sure you sign up. RSVP doesn't cost anything. It's RSVP for the Richard Hart hearing and then RSVP for the Protecting Crypto Rights seminar on Friday. SJ, honestly, thank you so much for you and the captain and what everybody does for really building this community. I think the events are huge. What you do to travel around and bring people together is phenomenal. So we really appreciate you.
Thank you. Y'all are the best.
Appreciate you, SJ.
I'm already
here.
tipsy. Whee!
Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Whiskey
We
Wednesday.
have a specific term for that over here. It's called lightweight.
Accurate.
The
I'm
other one is
small and I don't drink often, so
the other one is the 2-pot screamer.
Oh,
hot screamer.
Yeah.
What is that?
It basically means you don't need much to get drunk and start showing it.
The two oh
2-part. Yeah. Okay. So like basically 2 drinks, and then all of a sudden.
Yep.
We call that tequila makes your clothes fall off over here.
okay.
Hey, that's a song by Joe Nichols. Good country music, that.
it's a good song. Great song. In fact,
Yeah, it is.
If you haven't if you've heard this,
Funny thing about that, a lot of people think he's talking about his wife or his girlfriend, but it's actually his grandma.
I was gonna say, if you haven't seen the music video, go
Yeah.
watch the music video. 'Cause it's hilarious.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, grandma.
So
Hey,
funny.
SJ, did you say Zenith's freaking the little commercial he made? Oh man.
Masterful.
We're gonna
when he
play it at
first-
the end here, hopefully.
Oh,
on
we
our-
will.
our
We'll play it
outro.
at the end. But when he first showed that in our little leadership chat, I just about rolled on the floor. I couldn't believe he's like, "Oh, you failed, loser."
Yeah.
What's the best part? Whether the fact he loses or he says RG3's full name.
Oh yeah, he made up some fucking ridiculous like old Victorian like Reginald
That's my favorite.
Reginald something. Oh, it was fantastic.
Reginald Gerard III.
Reginald Gerard the Third.
Hilarious.
Oh my god,
Hilarious.
that was too fun. Too fun.
All right. So we are at about that time where we should start wrapping up, but I want to hear from our guests, our Whiskey Wednesday guests. And next week we do have a guest coming on. And
Special guest.
he's
Very
a
special.
Mexican, and he was recently in prison overseas.
Oh!
Oops.
Oh.
Well, that was a
He may
reaction.
just be on our show next week, so spread the word.
Spread the word.
Very cool.
So we have a very, very special guest. In fact, the next, and then so we'll have another Whiskey Wednesday after that. And then we're going to start getting back to having a pretty steady line of guests in between our Whiskey Wednesday shows, which we have been a little bit off recently with some transitions here. But we're really excited. And I think that's going to be a really interesting show. So hope everyone can tune in. But yeah, so Donnie, what you want to tell the people? Where can they find you? What should they check out? And any words of wisdom?
Yeah, for sure. So, words of wisdom, as always, not your keys, not your crypto. I guess if you want to find me, you can check out my links at donfunction.pls.fyi. You head there. It's kind of like a DeFi link tree that's powered by Pulse domains. So definitely go check that out as well. Yeah, functionisland.com is the main platform, and everybody's welcome to join in over there. Yeah, if you're building a project or if you're a degenerate player, either way, there's room for everyone over there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Functionisland.com, donfunction.pls.fyi, and yeah, follow me on Twitter. Cheers.
Cheers, buddy. Paul Sachs, Mr. Denver himself.
Is your guest John McAfee next week? Sorry.
Yes, absolutely.
I can't confirm nor deny.
You can find me at X Paul_Sachs_win. That's all I got.
Thank you, buddy. Always a pleasure to have you.
Yes, sir.
Well, SJ, give us any more info you want to add? Where can the people find you? Besides Long Beach?
The last thing I'll say is that I am, now that I'm kind of back from a little soul-searching vacation and getting a better schedule nailed down, I am currently working on the finalization of the SciVive document PDF, the text version. So that's very exciting. Outside of that, pulsechaintour.com, ladies and gentlemen, that is my life's work right now, and I could not be happier in the fact that I get to be around Hexicans often and spread the wonderful world of DeFi, and how really awesome it is to start hearing people and seeing people kind of waking up to it, because the conversations that I'm having now versus like a year or two ago, it's not just what is crypto anymore. It's that there's a distinction between DeFi and not. CeFi, right?
Yep.
So, keep at it, y'all. Like we're look at us, we're here. We thought the bottom of the bear market was like 6 months ago, a year ago, 3 months ago. No, we're all still here, and I am grateful for each and every one of you. Just keep on keeping on, and thank you for all of the content that you guys put out, everything that you guys do. Like carrying this torch is important. That's one of the other thing that I really want to put out there is we're not going to do all these events all over the world anymore. You can do them. That's why, one of the things I love is the Hex Meetup Telegram, right? Like, let's definitely get that linked, because if you live somewhere and you want to hang out with other Hexicans, there's a chat for that. So make it happen, do it your way, and keep on surviving, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, SJ.
Hey, on the subject of there being a Hex Telegram, if you guys take a look right underneath my name, you'll see it says bit.ly/Hex_meetup. So hey, if you're a Hexican and you want to meet other Hexicans, then what you need to do is type that into your URL and go meet and go talk with other Hexicans. Or I'm going to go ahead and drop the link in the chat for you guys, and you can go ahead and click on that too. Other than that, if you guys want to find any of my socials, you can find it all at will.pls.fyi. That's all that I got. As far as announcements and things go, regarding book club, there's not going to be a book club for the Degen Roundtable this Friday. Zenith and I are both out and about traveling. I'm going to a wedding thing, and he's like rolling around the state somewhere. So nothing going on there. Our next show is going to be Sunday. We will do a news stream again. It starts at 8 p.m. Eastern. A reminder for the folks at home who don't know, Degen Roundtable, we stream every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So that's where you guys can find us right here. And other than that, we also got a Telegram that's down there in the corner. If you guys see that little QR code on the bottom of the screen, if you go ahead and scan that, or if you click on this link that I'm about to drop into the chat for joining our Telegram, then that will get you over into the Degen Roundtable Telegram, where you can hang out, ask questions, talk about video games, post silly memes, talk about girls, guns, bullets, beans, batteries, band-aids, all the good stuff. So hop on over into our Telegram, come be a part of the community, come have fun, go meet people, go kiss babies, shake hands, all that good stuff. Nate Broski, what do you got coming up in the near future, and where can the folks find you?
Okay, so the folks, I'm dead. No, never mind. The folks can find me in the Telegram, on Twitter at AscendingMan369. I am trying to put out as much content as possible, and unfortunately, I'm getting through the last month of the extreme push in my in real life job, and unfortunately, I'm literally working 12 to 13 hours like every single day, and then I get 2 hours with my family, and then I go to bed and come back and do it again, right? So I'm trying. I literally have an entire list of projects, information I want to put out there. It's going to be absolutely huge. We are about to get into a huge alt season, and there's a lot of things that are priming right now. The way that this tends to work is that it's like a spring. It gets set all the way down. Everyone's emotions are like, it's going terrible. It's going terrible. I think I'm going to quit. That is everyone's emotions doing this, right? Hitting that point, you're going to quit. And then bam, there goes Bitcoin. It starts flying up. And that's when everyone gets so euphoric that they start throwing their money everywhere. That's when Pulse Chain is absolutely going to go ballistic. And that's even without Richard Hart sending his Ethereum into Pulse Chain, right? With Sack Daddy. So guys, hold on. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. In fact, you need to DCA more. That is extremely important. But other than that, I am trying my hardest to get as much information out as possible. It's really difficult with the amount of hours I've got, plus trying to at least not abandon my wife over here. So, yeah, with that being said, Brendan, take us out.
Yeah, so before that, we got a couple of chat shout-outs that I just want to get to before I take us away. Mrs. Producer, if you could help us there. Hex Glenn, maybe she's targeting people who make faces and speak in platitudes. And he's referring to Kamala Harris because she doesn't have much substance when she speaks. She just speaks in platitudes. And last but not least, Mr. Funk Master Hex. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Good evening to you, sir. And I see a little drink, so I will give you a little cheers. And that is it. So as a reminder, we do not have book club this coming Friday, but we do have our flagship show on Sunday. We have a lot of topics to talk about. We touched on the CPI numbers a little bit today. We talked about what to expect from the Fed meeting next week on the 18th. We'll get into that a little bit more on Sunday, a little bit more of a deeper dive. A lot of news topics this week. And then next week, we have a phenomenal guest. I guess I let the cat out of the bag a little bit, but we will be having Kareem on.
I was going to say, don't say the actual name yet, but yes, we're gonna have Kareem. He's gonna get on. I guess the cat's out of the bag now.
Hey, look, we want more people to come join us, and so telling them now isn't too bad.
And
so,
he is lovely. From having met him in person more than once, like Kareem is a solid dude. You know, it was really hard to watch him going through all of that, and I get it. Like I see both sides of the story. I really do. But he genuinely, as far as a human being. Like he's A-okay, you know, in my book, like of being in this community for several years now. It's like you see people come and go and you see people's attitudes and, you know, whether or not they're steadfast. And he's been pretty steadfast the whole time. So,
yeah, the conversations I was having with him, he was coming across that way, where it's like, you know, this is a legit guy, you know, a legit dude. Yeah. And so I'm looking forward to talking with him. I think it's gonna be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and my fiance and I met him during the Greatest of Stakes here in Miami. Nice. So we met him. We talked to him for about an hour afterwards, and super gracious, super nice guy. And look, everybody has their own opinion about things, and that's each everyone's opinion. But it'll be great to have him on, listen to his side of the story. And talk about Hex, and it'll be fantastic. So that's what we got coming up next week. And for myself, just trying to rehab this knee and get back to 100%. And outside of that, trying to make some more money to DCA. And I am excited about where we are going in the future. Stay patient, stay vigilant, and stay amazing. Okay, Degens. Oh, I should say first, Miss Producer, get that trigger figure ready because we have to play a little video. And remember, Degens and Degenettes, to degen responsibly.
I'm a Degenette. I love it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pulse Chain Tour Masters Golf Tournament 2024. Zenith is making his approach to the green on this sudden death playoff between himself and Reginald Gerald III, who already completed his putt for birdie. Zenith needs to make this putt right here in order for his dreams of winning that jacket to stay alive. Let's see what he does. Oh, he flubbed it. He missed. He whiffed. He's a loser. I repeat, RG3 wins. RG3 wins. Don't make mistakes like that guy. Get ready early for Pulse Chain Tour Las Vegas 2025, including the Pulse Masters Golf Tournament from March 6th through the 9th. Sign up early and use the code DGEN at checkout before September 1st to get 36.9% off all of your tickets. Don't miss out on all the fun from the star-studded conferences, golf tournament, and nightly events in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada with all of your friends and favorite Pulse and Hex creators. We cannot wait to see you in Vegas, so until then, DGen responsibly.